Yes, this was the #1 sword in King Legacy. However, I'm not talking about the modern set of skills this sword offers. This video is dedicated to the history of the Hell Sword, a katana which I share deep emotions with since it is the only viable sword in my inventory. I could not obtain the exact date of when the Hell Sword was first launched in the game, but from looking at the wiki fandom page of the sword and skimming through various changes and versions of the page until finally finding the progenitor, it is safe to say that the Hell Sword was added in February 2021. It was introduced along with King Samurai, the wielder. To the amateur One Piece fans, the Hell Sword is based on Enma, a sword owned by Odin, who is also the inspiration behind the raid boss. Upon its release, and for around another year and a half, it saw itself in the spotlight of usage. Literally anyone that had access to the second sea was dying to get the sword. To give you a perspective, let's find out what the moves used to look like. Exactly just like my Quake video, I will be relying on another YouTuber's footage to showcase the sword. Okay, so the M1s look like this, simple and old-fashioned. No 4-hit combos, just the original haki coating the sword and a trail that is unleashed, following wherever the sword went. Upon activation of the Z move, the player would strike a cut in a narrow vertical and horizontal line, hitting the enemies only once. X move was similar to it today. The player would slash in a sphere-like area, but it was quite longer, meaning a longer stun. It was red, it radiated these electric discharges by the end of the slashes, and it would hit an enemy 10 times. In fact, the holy grail of sword versatility lied within the X skill. Just like what I told you, it stunned players, and most importantly, it was the only viable sword that could Ken break. No other sword was able to give hits more than 3 per skill. The lack of competition and the growing need of players to break Ken back then surged Hell Sword into the meta. Watch any bounty hunting video back then and you would see Hell Sword being featured in it. However, apparently, this sword was never used for grinding aside from acting as an NPC gatherer. Players back then relied more on fruits to deal damage. Even if there was a grinding sword that could do good in grinding, it would be the Phoenix Blade. Oh yeah, in comparison to the Dark Blade, the Hell Sword was free and more viable than this sword in all ways. First of all, the infinite slashes move of Dark Blade happens in front of the user, not surrounding them. Plus, you'll need to hold it, difficulting you in switching to other items. Meanwhile, for the Hell Sword, press X, write an essay on the glory days of Hell Sword, come back and finish the enemy off. In 2022, around a year after its first release and a lot more stuff being added, Hell Sword would meet its revamp, making the Z move just no longer a line. However, personally, it made the X move less viable as a stun move as it lasted shorter, along with visual adjustments. Many would argue that this was the downfall of Hell Sword. It was true that it slapped Hell Sword, but in my opinion, there was a far greater contributor to the plummet in usage. Acrosite. This sword was the successor of the Hell Sword. It had lifesteal, Ken break, damage, everything that a player could ask for. So, wonder no longer. By the way, at this point, the game already had better and more viable means of Ken breaking, stunning, and dealing rapid damage. Hell Sword then got its last and latest rework, which was an effect and visual enhancement. The inclusion of a burn effect and increase in the hits from 10 all the way to 30 as a last ditch to save the sword, and that's all. Nowadays, the developers would give a skill the ability to hit a lot of times as a way to break the dodge haki. Many swords, fruits, and melees have been adopted with this concept. Present day Hell Sword stands in a solid OK tier in ranking. It is still used predominantly by OG players, but it is clearly outclassed in all aspects by other alternatives. So developers, if its brother Muramasa got an awakening, then why are you still shy to give Hell Sword a well-deserved V2? But hey, it is up to the creators. So in conclusion and to summarize everything, Hell Sword was good because there was no competitor. If you've made it this far in the video, kindly check out this funny website I've made. Go down to the description for the link. Click that subscribe button. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.